that is on the local level of expertise. He's an international level top rated person. So as a certified Islamic finance planner and financial modeling and valuation analyst, he has demonstrated exceptional abilities in structuring Sharia compliant finance products and managing multi-jurisdictional funds across the UK, the US, and Canadian markets. Thank you for muting. His expertise extends to green finance and sustainable investments, making him well positioned to bridge traditional capital markets with innovative Islamic finance solutions. So you know that this person is not just an expert, he understands the Islamic jurisdiction on this. He knows it like he knows the back of his palm, like people say, right? So I'll give the floor to whom we are talking about, the expert himself, for him to shed more light on um, what we are talking about today. Welcome, sir. Welcome, Mr. Tunde Ajani.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Um, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Now, thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining the call. My name is Tunde Ajani. In alhamdulillah, na'mudu wa nasta'inu wa nastaghfiru wa nastahdi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Innahu man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمد عبده ورسوله وبعد. All praises is due to Allah, the beneficent, the merciful. We send blessings and salutation to our noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah continue to bless his household, his companion, and those of us that are on the righteous path till the day of reckoning. Beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, I greet you with the best of greeting by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa
Walaikum
barakatuh.
salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Permit me to share my
وعليكم
screen.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Um, okay, so I want to share my screen, moderator.
Yes, you
Okay.
can. I have made you co-host. Sorry. Yes, you
Okay. Okay, I'll try again. Now, please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Sorry, the topic before us today is exploring opportunities in non-interest diversified portfolio. It's a very wonderful topic and then a very pressing one at this time, at this challenging time, I'll say again. And it's very important that we as Muslims were conscious of our investment strategies and opportunities. So again, this is born out of the fact that we have, as Muslims, whenever we are bound with making any decision, we are bound by our ethical core values or Islamic values. So again, I want to believe the audience is aware of different Islamic finance principles. And these principles are the guiding principles that coordinate the entire affairs of Islamic finance. Now, this cut across both financing requirements and then investment strategies. Today, we also have, we're going to be discussing around what is expected of us as Muslims whenever we want to have not only investment strategies or investment decision, but also, of course, having to diversify our portfolios whenever we are faced with those decisions. One would be wondering, do we have Islamic finance or Islamic requirements as to those kinds of decision? Yes, we do have a lot of them, as we know that Sharia is encompassing and then it's comprehensive enough to touch all aspects of our life. Now, very quickly, I will not be taking too much of our time. It's just a 10 slides, and then we have to just have, we'll be discussing few numbers. Again, I would not necessarily have to go into the tenet of Islamic finance or the core principles of Islamic finance, which has always been discussed by different scholars in all our webinars. Again, let's quickly look at the source. Allah said in Quran, Surah Al-Imran, Quran chapter 3, verse 130. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la taqulu riba adhafa mudahafatan wattaqullaha la'allakum tuflihun. Allah said, "O you who believe, do not consume usury, doubled and multiplied, but fear Allah that you may be successful." So why do we have to reflect on this verse? Because it's a very clear warning against riba. And then, of course, if you look at the way Allah introduced the verse, is a call to action for every one of us, not only to be worried about our profit or probably profitable ventures, but again, to caution us against any form of riba that might fall into our transactions, and then also to inform others as to as to how they can invest. Now, that's just a foundation that's extracted from the source. Again, if you look at this topic, we will see that they are just the topic is actually talking about opportunities, and then scholars have discussed that whenever you want to talk about opportunities of a particular discourse, it's better to first highlight the challenges so that they can see the gap between the opportunities and the challenges. I'll take us a little bit broader to the global challenges around investing decisions. And then we can take an understanding of why we should have this topic. This particular topic is not centered alone to Nigerian landscape. Again, we have a lot of problem in the global Islamic finance landscape. I'll give some numbers. Just pay attention to, if you can see my screen, you can just pay attention to the red, the highlighted numbers and figures. So this is a table showing the sovereign wealth fund name, the sovereign wealth fund. And then we have their assets in billions of dollars. So if you look at the Muslim world, you will see that it means we have numbers of them as the first 20 or top ranked 20 Muslim world that have sovereign wealth. And if you look at the ranking, it means that we have Norway that has 1.3 trillions in USDs. And then if you go down, you see UAE, you see Kuwait, you see Saudi Arabia, you see Qatar, you see UAE, Dubai, and then you see Abu Dhabi and Turkey, Abu Dhabi, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the likes. And then these are their sovereign fund names. It means that the asset that's being owned by these countries. And then these are the first 20 globally. So if you look at the numbers and then you see the proportion of Muslim countries in this table, you will appreciate that, yes, Allah has blessed the Muslim nation, and then we have a lot of funds that is being ascribed to the Muslim world. But in another context, if you look at this table, you realize that, are we actually utilizing the wealth Allah has given to us properly? Have we taken time to utilize this asset or these resources in a way Allah will be pleased with us? So let's look at some numbers also in this table. Again, the first table the source was from Global SWP 2023, and then for this one, let's look at the table. saying that the market capitalization of top Muslim countries stock market. And then you see the Saudi exchange, this is called Tadawul, like the one we have now, like the Nigerian stock exchange that we have, the NGS. That's the value in millions of dollars or in trillions of US dollars. We have the Tehran Stock Exchange. These are all Muslim, the market capitalization for the Muslim countries. But again, if you look at the other side of it, you see that we have market capitalization for top 10 Fortune 500 firms. And then you look at these firms, you can see that we have Apple, we have Alphabet Incorporation, Amazon, Berkshire, ExxonMobil, Walmart, Chevron, and the likes. And then you ask, are these companies owned by Muslims? The answer is no. It means that Muslims are investing directly into entities. I would not want to use the word non-compliant, but entities that does not belong to the Muslims. So in a way, we are just provider of these funds, and then these funds are being used by other persons. And there are implications to this. You would wonder that, okay, what was the problem here? Does it mean that we should not invest? But no, that's not the case. The case here is liquidity is king, and then the one who hold cash can decide to do, can direct the affairs of any financial market. I don't want to stress too much on this also. Let's just go to the next table. Let's look at the top financial centers. Top financial centers, 20 of them, the top 20 of them. You see that we have the New York, we have the London, we have Stock Exchange, we have the Singapore, we have the Hong Kong, and then if you look at all of these names, you will not find any stock exchange belonging to the Muslim world. Top 20. And then we have the funds. I've shown a table that describes that we are the wealthiest, we have a lot of money, but our monies are not invested in the Muslim nation. Before I continue again, please, can you confirm that you can hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. Now, so you can see this dichotomy.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. You will realize that there are challenges, there are issues. It means that is a wake-up time for us to think about the way we have been handling the resources Allah has given to us. This is no coincidence. Allah has blessed the Muslim nation. We have the controlling resources that we have globally. But again, are we actually deploying these resources, both financial resources and economic resources for good use? And then that's why we continue to see the problems we are facing as for the Muslim population globally. Again, I will not also go deep into that. Let's come back to Nigeria. Nigeria recorded 283.45% appreciable market capitalization on the Nigerian Stock Exchange 2024. We have a GDP growth rate of 10%, and then we have an annual GDP growth rate of 3.46%. Unemployment rate is 4.3%. Inflation is 34.8%. Inflation, please note that. And then we have the interest rate recorded at 27.5%, and we have government debt to GDP to 38.8%. This means that for every one of us as Nigerians, we are subjected to 38% of the government debt. So whether it's a future debt or a current debt, it's a problem, and then it means that we have a global or a common problem to solve. Again, let's look at few numbers in the Nigerian Islamic finance landscape. You see, we have Islamic finance assets reaching 3.8 billion USD. And then statistics have shown that that's just less than 1% of the total assets we have in Nigeria. Less than 1%. Of course, out of this 3.8 billion, Sukuk is taking 59.3%, and the non-interest bank pull together all their assets, together with the fact that they've increased their capitalization rate and then they are trying to catch up with it. Alhamdulillah, a lot of them have met up with this. They all owe 39.8% of the less than 1% of the total assets we have in Nigeria. And then Islamic funds, which covers pension and then takaful, is 0.9%. And then I bring the population of Muslims to you as 53%. And then we have, interestingly, the capital market is looking at having a 1 trillion economy in 2020, between 2025 and 2030. So if you reflect on these numbers, you realize that there's a kind of mismatch in the Muslim participation or the Muslim decision to invest into both halal fund and every other thing. Again, I'm going to give you another statistics just for you to have an understanding of where these problems are. This is just a pension fund. A pension fund is you and I that work, certain amount of money is going to be deducted and then it's going to be placed into a pension to be collected in the future. This money is usually known as free cash flow to the government or probably to these agencies. Now we have different pension fund administrators and custodians. So each of them add our monies, especially for those of us that started work. So again, if you look at, I bring you the numbers. Look at total pension fund in Nigeria as at November 2024 is 22.257 trillion. That's a lot of money. And then if you look at, so sometimes in 2021, there was an advocacy for Nigeria for the pension for the Muslims to have a particular fund called Fund 6. This Fund 6 is going to address, is expected that the assets to be invested in are to be Sharia compliant. That was a great move from the Non-Interest Financial Institution Association of Nigeria, and then they created what we call Fund 6. So before the Fund 6, it used to be that the custodian or probably your pension fund administrator can invest your retirement benefit or your pension funds, your pension contribution into any kind of asset. It could also be interest-based asset and all those and the likes. So it is the returns that will be also be returned back to you, and then you continue to see the growth in your pension fund. However, just because of the advocacy around non-interest and then the NIFIAN decided to come up with the Fund 6, and then it was submitted for approval. Alhamdulillah, it was approved, and then so the only asset that can be so if you opt to invest in Fund 6, it means that your contribution will be invested in Sharia non-compliant asset, Sharia compliant asset, sorry. Now, looking at the numbers, you see that Fund 6 is about 87 billion out of 22.257 trillion. And that's if you take the numbers, if you take the proportion, it's just 0.39. It's not 39%, it's 0.39, less than 1%. And then this also is also confirming the fact that the total Islamic asset compared to the total asset that we have in Nigeria is less than 1%. So it means that these Muslims were sleeping in terms of investment. And then again, if you look at it critically, I said that the Muslim population is about 53%. Taking numbers of active the working population to be 23% or 53%. What that means is that we should be having more than these numbers. But again, are we doing what we're supposed to do? If you look at out of the 87.3, let me just explain how these monies are being invested so that you have an idea of why you should be worried about your earnings, And then again, if you walk along with the stories of the Salaf, when their husbands are going out, the wife will tell them, please, as you are going out, ensure that what you are bringing back as wealth is what is earned from halal. So again, we cannot afford not to be worried or be conscious of where we are put or where we are investing into. Now, if you look at the total federal government securities, out of the 87 billion, the pension administrators are investing about 46.7 into federal government securities. The federal government securities is now broken down into bond, treasury bills, sukuk, and state government securities. Out of all of this, it is only 9.4 billion that is invested into Sharia compliant assets. That's just about 10%. If you look at others, they are non-compliant assets, bonds, T-bills, state government securities, and all. Again, when you ask yourself, why are they not investing everything into Sukuk? The simple truth is the fact that the total pension from belonging to the Muslim, which is 87 billion, is even more than the entire Sukuk that has been issued. So again, we do not have real asset that is able to take care of the entire fund that we have. But again, is that a growth? No. And then if you look at other numbers here, you see that we have corporate debt securities, we have 2.8 billion. These are non-compliant securities instruments, and then we are comfortable sitting there to see that our funds are being invested into non-compliant activities. Now let's go to the order of the day. Yes, like I said, I was going to talk about challenges. I just thought to look at those challenges so that we can understand where we're coming from and then what our situation is and then how we can collectively address those problems. If you look at liquidity is king, like I mentioned earlier, and then so long you have that money, you can direct your affairs. It means that you and I are funds with us. A lot of us have funds seated in the bank, and then they are just and I'm also say that we all have both conventional banks and Islamic banks at this time. I want to believe that the larger part of the audience now have an Islamic bank supported with their conventional bank, supporting these conventional banks account they have. Yeah, you now see that what are now the challenges that we continue to experience. It is first, we have limited access to credit. We have underdeveloped financial market, Islamic financial markets. It's still developing. Like I said, it's less than 1%. At this time, we have foreign exchange volatility, which is common to, which is very predominant in Nigeria at this time. And then, of course, we have inflationary pressure, where I mentioned the inflation value. So again, you keep asking yourself, looking at both inflation and interest rate, the federal government under the Central Bank of Nigeria said that they are keeping interest rates, they are increasing the interest rates because they want to tame the inflation. But again, is that what is happening? And what are the gross implications to this? This is also making cost of funds to be expensive, and then value of assets are not able to match the cost of funds. So automatically, it's very difficult at this time. It's a challenging time for financial institutions. However, it's also an opportunity for some of them whenever they are able to see these chances. We'll not go deep into that. We have regulatory and policy uncertainty also, and then we have political and security risk. These are just different policies that have been issued at this time. You know, we continue to see government policy changing from time to time, and then we'll continue experiencing them in the future. Owing to the fact that the federal government is trying to stabilize the economy. Opportunities. So again, if you look at the whole thing, and then we want to look at opportunities and why you should invest in non-interest finance instruments, you'll see that the opportunities are just enormous, but I'll just mention some of them. Number one is that it will align with your ethical and religious principles. You are comfortable, you are confident that whatever that you have invested in is in line with Sharia, and then you are happy to meet with your Lord as a righteous Muslim. Number two is that it's allow for portfolio diversification, and then it's also allow you to have competitive returns as it is, because your investment is tied to assets. Again, for us at Trust Bank, we've established what we call a non-interest commercial paper, because we see the gap between the return on assets by the federal government for Sharia compliant investment, which is just not more than 18.75%. And then we thought that it's very important that we have come up with a short-term instrument that is able to address your liquidity needs, such that when you invest, you can easily, it's short-term, and then you can assist your liquidity. You don't have to stay for a whole year before you get your returns. And then, of course, we have growing market for Islamic finance. Of course, this is born out of the fact that even the federal government have made a pledge that they want to tap into the halal market, which was and then an halal economy framework has been launched few months ago. So of course, whatever you are investing in Islamic finance is going to be contributing to the social and development impact, environmental impact. It could be in form of infrastructure, as we have seen in the Sukuk, which had increasingly supported the infrastructural deficit of Nigeria. And again, I'll just finally talk about investment strategies and then the do's and don'ts, so that we can always have this at the back of our mind. The do's is number one, what are strategies? Strategies is, as an investor, when you want to invest, there's something that comes to mind. In Islamic finance, we also have all of these things, and then things that we're not supposed to do. Yeah, so again, why should we invest? And then what are the reasons why you can invest? You can invest because you want to receive income, or you want to grow your investment, or probably your asset. And then you can also diversify, because as we are in an ever dynamic, or a dynamic environment that keeps changing at every time. So it's very important that you diversify your portfolio. When you have assets in stock, you can also have some of them in Sukuk, and then you can have them in non-interest commercial paper. You can also have some addressing different needs, like short-term needs and asset appreciation. And then of course, value investing, which I mentioned earlier. They don't, in Islamic finance, you don't invest in speculative investment. Too many speculative investment out there. You agree with me that many of them are not backed by assets. They are just based on speculations. And then of course, Sharia frowns at extreme gharar, and those are one of the tenets of Islamic finance. And then momentum investment, which is just around pyramid investment and all of those things that we've experienced back in Nigeria also. And then it has created a lot of gap into the Nigerian financial landscape. And then finally, trying to edge with certain derivatives. I use the word certain because it is still a subject of debate to say that derivative is not Sharia compliant. But again, the only derivative can be Sharia compliant are those ones that are backed by real assets, and then they derive their value from real assets. With this, I'll take a pause. I'll take question, and I'll say Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for listening.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاكم الله خير.
Jazakumullah Khan for your extensive explanations on this. I don't know if anybody has questions. Do we have questions? Okay, someone has a question here, and I think Monsor says, can we have examples of derivatives that are Sharia compliant?
Okay, so thank you very much. You see, it's kind of difficult for you to have derivatives that are Sharia compliant in an economy, or in Nigeria like ours, because we do not have a standardized Islamic finance capital market. So it could be difficult, but again, it doesn't mean that it's not achievable. However, in jurisdictions that have developed Islamic capital market, they've established instruments that are kind of Sharia compliant, and then they are derivatives. Again, what do we want to establish from this? It's better to understand what derivatives are. Derivatives are instruments that takes a value from an underlying asset. Now, if you ask ourselves, the cryptocurrencies and the blockchain assets that we now have, the question is, are they backed by real assets? If they are backed by real assets and these assets are Sharia compliant, so they are safe to say that they are Sharia compliant derivatives. However, if you look at this, the way these assets, I mean the conventional derivatives are being modeled, they are modeled based on speculations. So with that, those are the problems that we try as much as possible to shy away from speculation of derivatives or cryptocurrencies as we have in the market. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think Kendi Abbas has a question, so you can go on. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ajani, for the insightful delivery. I would like to ask some few questions and also make comments. So we should realize that the world of investment is greatly driven by risk and return. You mentioned something very pertinent that the rate of returns on Sukuk is about 18%. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Hello?
correct.
Can I be heard?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
that's
Correct,
so
yes.
where I'm going very, very quickly is that all the other investment portfolio, we all know that Cool have higher delivery than Sukuk. And you know, people are driven by that risk and returns. That park on one side. The other aspect is the issue of population of Muslims in Nigeria. You gave the statistic about 53%. The question is, how many are conscious Muslim that knows the do's and don'ts of investment? Those are the conversation we need to have. I could remember I attended one program like that in Unilag, and we were being asked inside that hall, can you raise up your hand if you have accounts in any of the Islamic bank? A very large hall. People that raised up their hand, they are not up to 10. So the speaker was mad that you can see how will Islamic finance develop if we Muslim, we don't have accounts, we don't patronize Islamic bank. And it was on that day that it was done on me that even myself, I don't have any Islamic bank account. So, and that spurred me to open an account with Jaiz Bank. So where I'm going is that we must make conscious efforts as Muslim. We must walk the talk. You have delivered a thought-provoking lecture now. We can go away and the tenant is not imbibed that we need to patronize Islamic finance, Islamic banking, and also that could be our own contribution. I'll also give an example of in a setting, an organization where you join and you are meant to open an account. How many companies in Nigeria will you go out there that you join them, you pick an Islamic bank as your bank, you'll be looked at an outskirts. And those are the conversations that we need to have. You mentioned one organization like that. I didn't get it very well. Like maybe a non-clinical Islamic association. So those are the things that they need to drive. People should be given opportunity to open an account. I join a company, and if the company is not insisting, some company will insist that the employee must open accounts where they have their main account. That is also like, limitation. I can join your company and I want to open my account in Jaiz, in Tej Bank. Is that allowed now? If it's not allowed, those are the shortcomings of limiting Muslims working. So those are the areas that advocacy have to happen around. And another one I want to mention, the issue of the returns. Okay, I've mentioned the issue of returns. The next will be that the world we live today, everyone on this call knows that Aram is what strives. If you go into it, what is the underlining, as you mentioned, sir? The underlining is majorly Aram. What is striving? So we Muslims, we have limited choice of investment. We have limited choice of where to invest. So largely in the world now, people invest in short-leg, in alcohol, in betting that generates so much money that we Muslims, we can't do it. So the first conversation is to get ourselves conscious. The population of Muslims you mentioned, they could just be Muslim on the lips. They're not conscious Muslim that knows that everything is not money. Everything is not money. You need to look at the dunya wal akhirah. So those are the things that I want to mention. I will pause so that I could give the floor to others to comment. I could come back if there are more time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Do you want to answer the question, sir?
Yeah, I
Sir.
don't think it's a question. I think it's a contribution, but again, I just want to make a little bit of additions to it. You know,
All right.
yeah, when we talk about limited assets, and then we want to talk about risk and returns, even in Islam, there's risk and return, So because we have the saying to say, Al-Kharaj with Daman, Wal-Gunum bil Gurum. It says that there's no profit on capital without risk. So that brings to the fact that whenever you want to earn returns, you must be willing to take the risk. And then it is to the extent of the risk that you're taking that your return should also come in. Federal government sukuk looks like safe investment, as it is known globally that any issuance by the states or by the federal government are always safe investment, just like the regular treasury bill or treasury the bonds. That means, of course, since they are safe, there's a cost to it. That means you have a lesser return compared to the market rate. And that's the only, and then if you look at the numbers I gave earlier, it constitutes about 59.3%. 59.3% to the total, or to the global, to the total assets, Nigerian Islamic finance assets. It means that there's a dear need for practitioners also to create assets for people to invest in. There's dearth of assets, but there are monies. These monies are not invested in, and that brings me to the foundation of this discussion. The Muslim, we have the money, but the monies are not invested into Sharia compliant activities. I think I've given a lot of indicators that would convince the audience that we have the money, but our monies are not where they are supposed to be invested in. Yeah, we'll take another question.
Jazakumullah khairan for that, sir. Miriam Yusuf, I saw you raise your hand. Please ask your question. If Miriam Yusuf is not available, then Aisha Haruna should ask her question. And oh, sorry, is okay, yeah, Aisha Haruna, yeah. Miriam Yusuf, are you there?
It was just a reaction to the contribution from the previous speaker.
Speaker. All
Yeah.
right, all right, all right. So Aisha Haruna, you have the floor.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, let me first by thanking the organizers of this very important lecture. I feel very sad that I couldn't join from the beginning. I actually set an alarm, but nature took its course. I slept off. I want to appeal if there's any way one can get the recorded lecture that has been given so far. And actually, this is something that I've been, it's been going on in my mind, that how do I even get to know those halal investments? Yes, I have an account with Islamic Bank, and I used to do investment with Lotus Capital. But of late, I asked myself, what other investments are available to Muslims? Like the speaker has clearly stated, the one that bring high returns, yes, have high risks. But I want to know this federal government support, is it halal? Is it an halal investment? I just want to know which of the best halal investment that one can invest in. And honestly, I would love to have the lecture audio to get more educated on this. Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity.
All right. You're welcome. Yes, as regards the as regards the course, the video or the audio, immediately after we have sessions like this, we usually upload to YouTube and it can be watched over again. So the link will be sent. I don't know. Are you on the MMC platform?
No, I got this invite from a group called Islam Group. And
Oh, Islam.
group,
All right.
yes.
All right
I
then.
hope
So
I'm not asking too many questions or requests. I
no,
also
you're
want,
not. You're
thank you
not.
so much. I also want to know if it's okay for one to have your contact, because sometimes I come across people when I'm talking to people, like doing like dawa, people ask certain questions, especially on Islamic banking and investment, where I'm not really very equipped to give such responses. Is there any way one can get your contact, if it is email or WhatsApp number, that one can make available to some of our Muslim brothers and sisters that may not have the opportunity to be in this platform today? Thank you.
All right now. Oh, I believe Mr. Ibrahim Ajani will answer those questions now. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you very much. Like I mentioned earlier in the course of the conversation, um, there are different investments and then there are strategies to it. So as an investor, um, you need to know the outcome of the investment. And then outcome of investment will mean that what are your appetites? Do you want capital preservation? Do you want to generate returns? Or you want a short-term investment? Or you want a long-term investment? Or you just want safe custody? So again, safe custody will just mean that you just have your money be there and then you don't want anything to touch. You don't want both profit returns and everything. So it happens. So these are different strategies. Again, in Islam, it's very important that we monitor the way returns are being added to our capital or primary investment. We have different investment that you can opt for. There's Trust Bank Mutual Fund, and then there is what we call non-interest commercial paper. The non-interest commercial paper would also be discussed by one of my colleagues before we end the call. But again, just to put it into context, it is a short-term note that allows you to invest for 6 months and then you get your returns. The investment is tailored towards Sharia compliant assets, and then it is built based off the Wakala contract. The Wakala is just like an agency contract that we all know. So again, just before we end, I will allow my colleagues also try as much as possible to explain further on the product and then how you can subscribe to it. Yeah. For contact, I think the coordinator of MMC would reach out to you on that. Yes, my contact can be available. You can always reach out whenever you want to. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Yes, Shakira Ade, sorry, I want to be sure I get the name fully. Yeah, Shakira Ade Jumoke. Like I said, the video is on our YouTube channel, Minaret YouTube channel. I'll send the link in chat and probably send the I'll probably send the link afterwards to people in the MMC group and the to the people of Trust Bank. Oh, also, I'm sorry, this is an oversight. We have really, really great people here on the call. We have the MDs of Trust Bank here, and they are patiently and quietly listening to us. So all of your questions can still be directed to them. All of the necessary questions that you need for clarifications would still be answered if you want to. So please, this is the avenue for you to do so. Any other questions? All right. It seems there are no other questions. So in the absence of questions, I would like to call on I would like to call on okay, someone is asking a question. Okay, should I just bring the link to get yourself registered on? Yes, yes, please. Yes, please. This is like the best avenue. Yes, please. Kindly help post the link for the MMC group here so people can actually join. There are so many things that you can gain from the MMC group. MMC group has over 1,000 people on the mentees group alone, and then we have as much as 300 or 400 people on the mentors group. That's apart from our Telegram group that has over 3,000 people. And what we do specifically is to give opportunities to Muslims generally. And as we know here, MTA is an offshoot. MTA, which means our Minaret Talents Academy, is an offshoot of Muslim Mentorship Connect. And what we do is to ensure that Muslims get all the necessary benefits, all the necessary supports that we can get from employment opportunities to trainings and mentorship, and also like you've just seen, everything that can improve us in our financial status and all and religious status, we do them. Our focus specifically is to ensure that Muslims are the best crop of ethical professionals in the field wherever they are. So he's going to post the group link here on the chat. So that should I should be able to buy a bit more time. So before he asked that question, I was saying that I wanted to bring on somebody to further explain to us or further give us more insights on what Trust Bank does. And Trust Bank also majorly does ethical banking, and this is a bank that abides by Islamic tenets. This is a bank that solely abides by Islamic tenets. I would like to call on Mrs. Rukayat to further clarify or further give us some insights on what Trust Bank does and other opportunities that are there for Muslims in Trust Bank.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Oh, thank you all for joining the session. We appreciate all your contributions, participation, and hope you found the discussion insightful and valuable. While we look forward to engaging you further on this very important topic and exploring ways to align your investment strategy without compromising your ethical values and faith. Okay, I would like to just take us through what Trust Bank does in terms of the non-interest. Okay, so Trust Bank Financial Group is a financial institution that have various subsidiaries that deals with both conventional and non-interest financial services. So at Trust Bank, like I said, we have various important investment opportunities, but I would like to concentrate more on the non-interest space. The subsidiary that handles the non-interest finance at Trust Bank is Trust Bank Asset Management. So Trust Bank Asset Management is a fund and portfolio management entity that deals with wealth management, fund management, and portfolio management. While we have the conventional investment opportunities, the asset management, we also plays at the in the non-interest space. So that is where we come up with these opportunities of enlightening our Muslim brothers and sisters on various opportunities that we have in the non-interest investment space and how best we can diversify our portfolios. So currently at Trust Bank Asset Management, we have various products and services that can serve you as a Muslim. One of it is our current ongoing non-interest commercial paper. Trust Bank, where Trust Bank Holdings, the parent company of Trust Bank Asset Management, is the originator of this particular instrument. Like Tunde mentioned during the course of his presentation, it is an agency kind of transaction where we have Sotiva Wakala as the wakil, then Trust Bank as the sub-wakil on this investment. Marble Capital is the Sharia advisor on this program. So this particular investment opportunity, we are targeting to raise a total of 20 billion, which the net proceeds will be invested in the non-interest financial ventures. When I say non-interest financial ventures, we are talking about sustainable investments, acceptable Sharia compliant real estate investments, and the likes. We have Sukuk as part of the underlying assets on this program, and so on and so forth. The minimum investment for this is 5 million naira and multiple of additional 1,000 naira. So this program is opened. We opened it last week, this very week on Monday, and we propose to close it on Thursday, 23rd of January, where funding to the allotee will be on 24th of January. That's Friday, next coming Friday. Aside from this, we have, like I said earlier, we have other investment opportunities for both individual, corporate institutions, and HNIs. So where you don't necessarily need to have this 5 billion that is the minimum investment, you can always reach out to us for further engagement on this particular investment opportunity and other available opportunities we have at Trust Bank. So please feel free to reach out to us either via this call to answer your questions or contact us via the undersigned phone number and the email address to further engage you on other investment opportunities. Thank you. That will be all for now. I'm open to answer your questions.
All right, ma'am. Thank you very much for that extensive explanations on what Trust Bank does. Is there any other person who wants to ask questions as regards what Trust Bank does, as regards the Islamic finance and ethical banking products? Any other person? All right. So in the absence of that, I would like to call it a day on this call. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Mr. Tunde Ajani. Thank you very much to Mrs. Rukoyat. Thank you very much to Temitope Usman, I guess. Yeah, Temitope Usman, thank you very much. Thank you very much to everyone on the call. Thank you very much for sparing your time to listen to this. The video would be on YouTube, on the Minaret Talent channel.
Please, sorry to cut you. I don't know if you're going to end the lecture now because they call prayers. You promised to
Yes, we
put
will.
the link of MMC on the chat stocks, which I've been
Oh,
looking
okay.
out for. It's not
Oh,
there
all
yet.
right. All
I don't
right.
know.
Sorry about
Thank
that.
you.
I'll
Sorry
leave
for the
the
interruption.
no problem. No problem. I'll leave the call for a while, probably for there about 5 minutes. Then I'll wait for the link to be dropped or get the link myself, and I'll drop it here so that whoever is interested can actually join. I'm sorry about that. We'll definitely get that done soon. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. Very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for the lecture.